Good morning. This is Kay Powell from BSBA. I'm so excited to be hosting the updates today. We're going to be talking to someone that has all the information. Thank you for tuning in, BSBA. Thank you for allowing me to host today. We will be talking to Heather Luzzi. So I'd like to introduce her. She is the Regional Director of the Sacramento Business Association. Heather, how are you
Hello.
today?
I'm great, Pastor K. How you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you for joining us today.
My
I everybody, I am at a small business, supporting a small business in my local
pleasure.
neighborhood. Yes, I am. I've been on vacation, so I had to come back and get spruced up. So we thought maybe you could give us an update as far as what's going on and what's the latest and greatest over there at the at the Small Business Association.
Okay, gotcha. So, thanks so much for having me. It's really my pleasure and honor, and I'm so happy that you are out supporting small businesses. We all need to do that. These poor businesses have been suffering for way too long now, and whenever you can, shop local, spend your money local, go to local restaurants. Yeah. In any case,
Thank you.
so the update at SBA, there's definitely a lot going on. With respect to the economic injury disaster loan, I think we'll start there. So the
Okay.
EIDL loan program is still up and running. It is scheduled to sunset on December 31st. With that said, we've made a lot of different modifications to the program in order to help more small businesses. So initially, we were capping those loans at like 150,000. We went up to 500,000. And now we just actually published in the Federal Register, I think it was yesterday, we're actually going to be able to go up to 2 million on those loans. And that will help a lot more businesses,
Wow.
employers with their employees. So that's fantastic. But here's the deal with that. We will not be funding those $2 million loans until after October 7th. So we're going to be processing those loans up to 500 through October 7th, and then we'll go to the larger amounts. The other thing, keep in mind, there's no personal guarantee, no collateral under those $200,000 marks. With respect to those over, the 200,000, it does require the personal guarantee. It requires collateral, anything that we can actually secure. Those loans do not have to be fully collateralized. So that's really key
Oh,
too. If there's no
yes.
collateral, there's nothing to take. So it would
Okay.
not preclude you from participating.
Okay.
Other than that, excellent interest rates on those, you guys, and they're amortized for 30 years. So we're trying
How
to
do you
get the
qualify
lowest.
for the 2 million? How do you qualify for 2 million?
Okay, so here's the way that the agency calculates it. We look at 24 months of working capital. And the way that the program came out, obviously, we did not realize that the pandemic would be going on for as long as it has. We didn't
Yes.
realize that it would be, this ongoing thing. So we were looking at 6 months of working capital. We've now increased that to 24 months. So we look at the historic
Wow.
earnings of the business and calculate those revenues based on your prior tax years. So again, if you have any questions or need assistance, please reach out to our office. The office telephone number is 916-735-1700. Keep in mind that we do have our employees working remotely for their protection. So if you have
Yeah.
to leave a message, somebody will call you back. The other thing that you can do is to email our district office at Sacramento_DO for district office at SBA.gov. So we can help you look up the status of your application, We can, try to guide you through the process. What we cannot do, however, is we can't, accept your documents or push it through towards approval. That's really out of our purview. That's all done out of the Disaster Loan Processing Center. But we're there for you. We will do our best to guide you appropriately.
So I have a client that
Mhm.
they keep rejecting their application because they're saying that line 6 doesn't equal the amount. So they had a line 6 and then the line 7, and they have all their 1099s, and
Mhm.
their line 6 is like, say, $1,000 because it was cash. Then they
Mhm.
it was put in on the other line, or whatever line it was. So line
Sure.
7 is like, say, I'm giving an example, 25,000.
Mhm. Mhm.
So they've been going round and round and round with SBA in
Mhm.
regards to the calculation,
Okay.
and they have their 1099s to approve it. It is like that on the tax transcripts,
Mhm.
and the agent keeps the loan agent keeps saying, yeah, they're making a mistake or whatever, but
Mhm.
they're going round and round. Is that something that I could
We
send to
can
you
help
to
with.
help? Okay,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
okay,
Those are the type of issues that we're happy to assist with.
okay.
Again, we can't do anything as far as time frames for processing and that type of thing, but those issues we can kind of play the intermediary between the processing and disbursement center and the applicant business. So we're happy to assist.
Well, I know you helped me, so thank you very much. So I know it
Absolutely.
works. So
Excellent.
what else is
Excellent.
going on over at SBA?
Okay, so the other thing that I would really mention that I think is really relevant right now is many of you may remember the CARES Act back in 2020, and this was to
Hmm.
assist businesses with absorbing the SBA loan payments, the interest, principal, etc., and all the fees that were associated with SBA loans on both the 7A and the 504 side. Now, 7A
Hmm.
and 504 are simply names of programs, nothing that you need to remember. It's just part of the Small Business Act. But what I do want to emphasize is that those funds are set to sunset on September 30th. The only way that we could guarantee that we could make those payments based on the trajectory of the amount of volume that we've got coming in is if those applications are submitted by tomorrow, Friday, September 10th.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yes, and those loans will be eligible for the no fees, no payments, etc. for that up to 3 months period. So
Hmm.
please, if you're sitting on the fence, do it. Call your banker, call your credit union. Um, just please move forward. We can follow up with some documentation later, but get your application in.
Okay, that's great news. That's a great tip. I really appreciate that.
Certainly.
I know that the PPP seems to be going really great.
Mhm.
Everyone I'm doing it is slamming through. The response is awesome.
Mhm.
It's easy for the 150,000,
Right.
150,000. It's been fantastic. I do know of a client that the first round of PPP was the application was put in incorrectly.
Okay.
Um, and SBA paid it to the lender, and now they still what happened was the application was put in, and the amount for the grant was subtracted. That remember that initially
Right.
that's how it was
Exactly.
done,
Mhm.
and then you guys changed the rules.
Right.
So it was paid off minus that amount. So that amount is still a balance. The
Mhm.
person is working with the lender. The lender said request SBA to cancel it so they can redo it,
Mhm.
and there has not been any response. Have you heard of how to correct any errors or any issues with the PPP?
So, yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, Pastor K. It's one of those things those are kind of one-off issues. We're happy to work with that applicant. Please have them reach out to our district office and we can contact the servicing center and get those issues corrected for them and for the lender.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. I will make sure that I handle that and get that to you
Great.
as far as the client.
Thank
Um,
you.
there was a lady on here that asked a question. She said, what is the lowest interest rate that you have seen?
So
I think it's
that's
the
a great
3.75,
question.
right?
Yes, exactly. So 3.75 is for the economic injury disaster loan. And again, those are amortized over 30 years. On the like 7A loan program,
Mm-hmm.
those would be a base rate based on the lender's criteria, plus what we would call a margin or a spread that SBA will not allow that lender to make more than. So, for
Oh,
example, it's a protection for
thank you.
the small business. It helps the small business to make sure that they're getting, the best rate available to them. Obviously, it's government secured. The other thing with that government secured is going to a traditional bank or a credit union. That's fantastic. And that's what my advice to you is to always go to your bank first. Ask them the questions. Do they do small business lending? Do they lend to your type of business? If so, if there's any deficiency, say you had, a hiccup in your history, a collection or a charge off or something along those lines, that's really where SBA can step in and mitigate that risk for that lender so that they're more apt to lend to you. That's the whole premise of it.
Okay, I'm looking for this last question. It says, thank you much for this information. Will they be making changes to those of us who started our business prior to COVID? And then transitioned to an LLC after COVID.
So, yeah, those are difficult situations because the way that the legislation was written, it talks about the way that the structure was at time of application or at time of COVID hitting. When there's a change, it appears, and it may not be true. I realize that people change their designations all the time, but the way that the legislation's written, we look back to that particular time frame. And if you change to an LLC, say last November, it would show that you would not be eligible. So again, those are kind of one-off cases. We could definitely try to assist and advocate on your behalf, but it's an uphill battle. I'll be honest with you. I don't want to set any, I want to be honest with you and just be real and say it's going to be a tough line, but let's try. We got nothing to lose at all, so why not?
That's my motto too. If they say no, okay, but go ahead
Mhm.
and try. So
Right.
Candy is asking, what is the website that they can apply at?
Okay, great. So, Candy, you can apply for the economic injury disaster loan directly through SBA.gov. There's actually the easiest thing to do is up in the right-hand corner, there's the little magnifying glass. Type in economic injury disaster loan or EIDL, and it'll bring you right to that application page. Otherwise, if you click on the coronavirus ribbon at the top, you'll get there as well. If you're applying through a bank or a credit union, again, that's a direct application to them, and then they come to SBA requesting that approval or guarantee.
Well, as usual, you are always a wealth of information. As you can see on the website, this is where
Mhm.
the SBA is showing what it looks like if you go on the website and how you can find the information.
Mhm.
Um, Shari is asking what's due by tomorrow. So that was on the 7A information. Could you repeat
Correct.
that again quickly? Mhm.
Absolutely. As part of the CARES Act, the federal government absorbed all of the fees and payments for the first 3 months on SBA loans, on new SBA loans. That process is set to expire at the end of September. However, because of the volume, we are stating that application has to be in as of Friday, September 10th to make certain that we've got enough time and funding to accommodate those loans. So again, on those 7A loans, which would be kind of working capital, you could, equipment purchase, inventory, operating expenses, anything along those lines. Definitely, if you're going through a lender, call your lender, get them to submit the loan by tomorrow. That does not affect that economic injury disaster loan. That still runs through December 31st.
Heather, we appreciate you so much. We care so much about the small businesses and everything that we can do. Okay, here's another question from Christ.
Mhm.
It says, I'm applying for EIDL for my church.
Mhm.
I keep getting a request to tax form 990. We do
Mhm.
not submit a form 990 to IRS. I sent
Mhm.
SBA our financial statement. This is the only form that's stopping us. So the 990 is something that is not required by churches, but it is
Mhm.
asked for in regards to these loans. So even though
Mhm.
you're not required, my answer to them would be that you still have to do the 990, even though you're not
Mhm.
required to
Mhm.
do it because you're a church. But these loans and governments,
Mhm.
they want a 990 done. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Kay. Thank you very much.
Mhm. So, hey, you can call Speedy Tax Services if you need it done, or go to your
Mhm.
local tax person and have it done. So, here's another question. Also,
Mhm.
are there any updates with the IRS? I amended
Mhm.
my taxes back in March, and my file has still not been uploaded, which causes me to decline for the California Relief Grant.
Mhm.
So the question for that is that our IRS rep
Mhm.
did not appear on today because she's busy, but I've been talking to them. I know she was taken off because they're backlogged. IRS is still saying there are 90 million returns backlogged. And so if you have to amend a tax return and send it in or anything like that, then it's going to be done manually.
Mhm.
And we know that Christine, our tax rep from IRS, she was pulled off of this today, our program, because of the backlog and wasn't able to do it. So unfortunately, it's kind of like out of our hands. We can't
Mhm.
do anything in regards to IRS and as far as pushing it through or helping them get it through
Mhm.
faster. It's
Mhm.
it's a matter of manpower. Plus, many of them are working at
Mhm.
home, like SBA. They're working in remote, and I heard the mail is all the way up to the ceiling over there. And I have many clients that are still waiting on their
Mhm.
returns to be processed.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
really
answer to that question.
really an
Hmm.
unfortunate situation for IRS, and we empathize with them. I mean, we had the same thing happen. We had 19 million economic injury disaster loans, and again, we didn't have a lot of manpower to help with those. So again, we tried to implement these different procedures. I know IRS is doing the same thing, and I'm sad that Christella wasn't able to be on, but I'm hopeful that we can get her back in the next couple of months.
Yeah, she said that she should be able to come back a couple of months. So to our listeners, it is true. IRS is a backlog, and plus they're trying to issue stimulus. They're trying to
Mhm.
issue the advanced child credit. That was why she was pulled off. And
Mhm.
then they're just trying to deal with just even the current returns. They haven't even done the regular ones in regards to there's a lot of errors in regards to people said they didn't get the stimulus and they didn't. So it goes to the error unit. So
Mhm.
they're talking 12 weeks to or longer, and I have a whole bunch of people that are um, out that haven't had it done. So here's a lady again. Christ Temple said, I was told by SBA to submit the form to SBA. Do I
Mhm.
submit the form to IRS, form 990 to IRS or SBA? So the form 990 has to be submitted to IRS and in their system, and then you could give a copy of it to SBA. But it has to be processed by the. That's a form that's has to be processed. And that's for nonprofits. It has to be
Mhm.
processed by IRS, and then just like a transcript or whatever, you can give it to SBA so they can confirm it that your
Mhm.
990 is was electronically filed with you can e-file it and it'll be in their system quickly. So any other questions? Well, all I can say is, Heather, we're just a match made in heaven. I
We
just
are.
love and adore you. Yes. And you always give great updates and you're
Mhm.
always willing to help the community. Your heart's the same as ours.
Mm.
I appreciate BSBA always trying to give the current information um, to the community. The
Mhm.
information is on there in regards to if you need to contact Heather, contact their office, or by email or by phone, you can do that, and she will help you out. If you can't find the information, call BSBA and they will also help you. So, Heather, is there anything else? Did I cover everything?
I believe you did. Kay, I want to again encourage your audience to reach out to you with any issues or questions regarding their taxes and filings and profit and loss statements, income statements, all of that, because you're the expert.
Yes,
Don't go it alone. You've got help out there. The other thing
yes.
is with BSBA, they are a wonderful resource for all of you. Don't hesitate to reach out to them because they can assist you with all of the applications, with matching you to lenders, with doing whatever needs to be done. So definitely utilize the resources that are at your fingertips.
You're welcome, and we appreciate you so much. And I'll see you next month with some greater. I guess I'm just assuming you're gonna be on here next month, and we'll give some better, greater updates or let everybody know what's
Perfect.
going on.
Excellent.